Oh, congratulations, folks. We've actually made it on set today.
We made it.
Because last week we almost died. I don't know if we mentioned it, but we're here today.
Did you flip a rickshaw?
Did I flip a rickshaw? Yes, I did. I did. I mean, I can't even lie about it because it was all over YouTube. So. Just call me Lewis Hamilton like you've been doing all bloody week.
But luckily we stayed
inside.
We did stay inside the rickshaw, which is really strange because it doesn't have any doors.
Lucky you weren't.
Reach out.
Can you stop it? All right, so if you haven't seen our YouTube channel and you've just found us through Spotify or however you download your podcasts, go over and watch it because it'll make you cry and then it'll make you laugh.
If you have no idea what we're talking about. Well, if you follow this podcast and the India series, it will all make sense because we actually shipped Chapati home.
Yeah. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry to kill,
Just going to put
kill
that
a
out
few.
there, you.
But we're all right. So we're back. So we took last week off. We were supposed to do the podcast like a few days after it, but we weren't emotionally stable, were we?
I don't think so, no. But luckily it only took a few days for us to really get over it, you know, and we're fine now. Thank you so much to everybody that has sent lovely gifts and well wishes. We're all three of us are on the mend.
Yeah, we'll get there. So this is season 3. Season 3.
It must be season 3, Craig, because in season 1 you were wearing tuxedos and stuff. You've actually got food on your t-shirt.
You had food just now, but you changed your top.
I've changed it though. So I'm one step ahead of you already.
I'll have that later.
I was just thinking, it would be fine, but people can't actually see you. We do record this on
well,
YouTube
luckily,
now.
that mic is in the way of the food spillage, so I think I'll be all right.
I'll let you get away with it.
As I was saying,
Moving on.
season 3, this is the Mongol Rally podcast where we drove 12,000 miles across the planet because we're just fucking nuts and we do what we want. So we did it in a little camouflage Fiat Panda.
Yeah.
And it was mental. So the last podcast we talked about Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan.
2 brilliant countries.
Is that right?
That's right.
I'm just all over the
It was
place.
a bit far away. You emotional? You okay? Do you need support? Do you need support?
Maybe, yeah. And this week we're talking about Russia a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's a fly in here. And Mongolia, mate.
Wicked.
Mongolia.
That is such a brilliant country. I cannot wait to delve into it today with you, Craig.
Yeah,
and
same.
the food on your t-shirt.
So we've actually got a special guest this week as well, Ollie. So we're going to get him on. We got a couple of questions for him. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, I'm going to run through a little prelude, which Amy's done some research for me. So I don't know how true this is. Mm-hmm. So Mongolia is the least populated country on planet Earth.
Whoa.
Less than half of the population now live a traditional nomadic lifestyle, living in yurts, rearing livestock and using horses as their transportation.
Less than half. That's a bit sad. I would like Mongolia to stay Mongolian, you know?
That being said, it is not uncommon to see a yurt with a satellite dish.
Shut up.
Sky TV and that. Cable.
Well, you got to move with the times somehow. If you're not going to sell your yurt and move to a brick house, just get cable. You know what I mean?
They must have added in Tajikistan as well. Remember we saw that fella on a horse with the UFC t-shirt on?
Yeah.
So the 3 most popular sports here are horse racing, archery and Mongolian wrestling.
That's really cool. Mongolian wrestling is massive. They've won gold medals in the Olympics.
Have they?
I think they won 30 something and 23 were for wrestling.
No way.
It's massive. It's what they're bred on, isn't it? We'll tell you about that in a bit.
Home to the endangered Bactrian camel, they play an important part in the Mongolian life.
Give it to me, David Attenborough.
They even have a camel festival, and that is how much they like the animal. And also, Mongolians invented ice cream.
Yes.
Hats off to you, Mongolia!
Yeah, so that's just a little brief,
So we give them one of them.
Mongolia definitely deserve a wow. Pretty cool country, if I say so myself. Deep and rich in culture and history, and I know they've got
How did you get in then?
How did I get in? She got a visa, mate.
Fair enough.
Went to London, got a visa.
Touché.
Check, mate.
All right, before we get into the guts of this podcast. Big shout out to the sponsor, Babbel.
The sponsor.
Bubble.
You don't have to make that noise because you've got that. That'll make it for you.
Yeah, but I just made up a new one, which I might record later on. Bubble.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Have you ever wanted to learn a language, but you're just like, I can't do it?
Yes.
Babbel will help you out.
Yeah?
In a matter of weeks.
Really? Me?
No doubts,
like
bro.
me, personally.
Apa kabar, nama saya Craig. I mean, just a little bit of Indonesian for you.
It's really cool.
Selamat sore.
You're going to do the whole podcast in Indonesian and I'll just try and guess what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been doing a bit of research online and that. And people, they learn a language to develop a better memory.
Yeah, it helps your memory for sure.
It does. So like when you eat too much cake and stuff because you've been in an accident, lots of people been lovely and they send it to you. You go to the gym, don't you? You exercise your body. But really, you need to exercise your brain also. So you've got to flex that mental muscle. Do you know what I'm saying?
It makes sense.
Like when you go to the gym, you do stuff with your body, you've got to do stuff with your brain.
Exactly.
Which is really cool.
So Babbel is like a clear and simple user face. You can use it on your phone. You can also use it on your laptop. And if you're signed into your account, it'll sync between your devices.
Love that.
It's sick, mate.
So it's got a speech recognition technology in it, which improves your pronunciation, which I suppose if you're going to like Spain, it would give you the confidence to like mingle with the locals more, wouldn't it? You'd have a much better trip. It would be a lot more cultural, like soaked in culture and history if you can like appreciate the language and everything that goes with that, you know?
Like a gulab.
I'll take a gulab. I'll pop it in my pocket.
Soaked in culture, innit?
Yeah.
So you can choose from over 14 different languages. I do want to learn Spanish as well. I've been learning Indonesian, but it's only really helpful when you're in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Whereas Spanish, if we ever go to South America, how helpful would that be?
Didn't I tell you once, though, that Spain is the most spoken language in the world? That's not right.
Spain.
So,
Do you speak Spain? I speak Spain.
I meant Spanish and I meant the second. I'm not doing very well.
So right now, we've spoken to the lads at Babbel. We were like, listen, our people
have spoken.
Our people
that mean the most to us
want to learn. So they're like, right, if they purchase 6 months, we'll give them 6 months free.
Give them 6 months free.
All you got to do is go to babbel.co.uk/play. That's BABBEL/play. And use the promotional code KINGINGIT, which is KINGINGIT.
You know what you should have said then?
What?
All you got to do is PayPal us 20 quid and we'll give you the link. Now, that's a win-win for everyone then, isn't it, really?
Don't tell Peter.
We love you, Peter.
This week, to help us fill in some of the blanks, we got one of the legends from the rally, Mr. Ollie Jenks, on the show. So Ollie is one of the funniest guys I've ever met. He's one of the strangest guys I've ever met.
Yeah, fits right in with us.
Yeah, perfect combo. And he was one of the key parts of actually getting us to the finish line.
Yeah, so he was part of Team Tyrannosaurus Wreck, which is the boys that are just a complete bunch of legends, really, that helped us cross the line.
So we're going to get him on the blower now. He said he's ready, so let's give him a call, shall we? Just before we do that, quick shout out to Rode as well for hooking us up with the Rodecaster Pro.
Oh yeah, because we wouldn't be able. We couldn't ring people last time, could we?
Couldn't ring people now.
We had a rubbish setup then.
Yeah.
Look a professional.
We were in our pants on my sofa with one mic. Now look at us. We've got a bloody studio, mate.
You got food on your t-shirt though.
I'll clean that later. So yeah, the Rodecaster is amazing. We've got that and the Rode Mic Pros.
Yeah, if anybody's wondering, we're going to do a blog post on how to start a podcast because not everybody knows. We didn't know. And this is all you need in this setup, innit?
It is sick.
Sick.
Right then, Ollie Jenks.
Coming through.
Ringing. He's ringing.
Hello, champion, you right?
Hey, Mr. Ollie Jenks. What's happening, mate?
How's it going, guys? You right? How's life?
Not too shabby, I suppose. You know, apart from the old crash here and there, we're doing well.
Did you crashing?
I did crash, yeah.
So, yeah. All those rally memories come flooding back.
Oh, I know. What are we like?
So how's it going, mate?
Yeah, really well, thanks. How are you guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to have you on the podcast, mate. So we got a couple of questions for you. We just bigged you up. You know, we said
Go for it.
We said that, you know, you're one of the funniest guys we've ever met, one of the weirdest guys we've ever met. And we were saying,
well, what can I say? You know, my reputation.
But yeah, honestly, mate, it was so good to have you in the convoy on the rally. So yeah, we got a couple of questions for you.
No,
Go
I
on.
forgot because Ollie. Well, you were the reason that we met, I guess, because I had first gone into a different WhatsApp group with somebody else that was going to go through Iran at a different time, and then I realised, oh no, they're going in too early for us. I'm going to pick a different convoy group, and that ended up being yours, didn't it?
Yeah, you know what's weird? I was looking through all my old rally stuff on my computer the other day. I remember when you, Jess, Will, and Craig, you sent me your passport details and stuff to send to the Iranian embassy or something.
Yeah.
And I found it. I come across it. It's so weird, isn't it, that we became this close convoy, and I was like this ugly bunch, and then before you know it, we're kind of in the middle of Mongolia, pushing a car. it's a fate. It's weird how the world works.
It really is, and it was so great though. I'm so glad I changed convoy groups.
Yeah.
We would never have met any of these boys, would we?
I know.
It just worked out so special, didn't it?
It did. It really did. So I'll jump in with the first question, mate. What was your favourite part of the rally?
Bloody hell. That is a big question.
Big.
And it probably deserves a bigger answer than I'm going to give it.
We've only got an hour.
Sorry. In a weird kind of way, there are a few different highlights. When Sam lost his passport, that wasn't a highlight, by the way, but it was, it was a good story to tell. It was just me and Aidan. We had a bit of a bromance for Europe, and that was quite nice. And we had a lot of funny things along the way.
Love.
Not like that. We didn't end up in an Amsterdam brothel or anything, but there we are. I think similar to you guys, we really enjoyed Turkey. That was kind of like a hidden wonder.
Yeah.
And then you guys in Iran, Iran just, I never thought I'd go there in a million years. So, just the culture shock was just amazing. And then I know you guys probably hate Uzbekistan, but I quite liked it. It's kind of a bit weird, a bit quirky. Turkmenistan as well.
Yeah.
It's only kind of second to North Korea when it comes to dictatorship countries that are difficult to get into. So in hindsight, it's a bit of a privilege to be there, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the landscapes, the camping, when stuff went wrong, there was a part of me that this is going to be a great story for the grandkids,
Yeah.
So I guess it was that, yeah.
There's a lot in there. I mean, you could, as you go through it in your head, which countries you've been to, you go, not that there, and then that one in that country. And, I mean, we were there too, so I can understand, how crazy it is to try and pick just a few things that you love. But yeah.
So, next question is, what was your highlight of Mongolia?
You know what? Because of the way Mongolia is, it's a huge country, massive landmass, and there's only 3 million people. And I felt so liberated, and it's probably the most, it sounds so a bit cliche, when you kind of try and find yourself in your gap year or whatever. But I felt I felt so free. And that, that moment where you guys you were squished in the back of the Italian cars.
Yeah.
And we weren't really on a road, we were on a dirt track.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I don't know if it was the rally itself had got to us a bit, but we all went a bit mental, and we all got jumping on each other's cars. And I tried to jump from one car to the other, and I fell off.
I remember thinking, "Oh my God, he's going to go under the wheels."
We watched it today, actually.
I know. The worst thing about that is, I was wearing jogging bottoms and an Andy Pandy striped shirt. I looked abysmal, but I wanted to try and look like Keanu Reeves or something, not like Andy Pandy on crack. Yeah.
Oh, they were great moments, though, weren't they? We all did go a bit crazy there.
Yeah. I felt like a pirate. There's no rules. There was no laws. You can kind of do what you wanted a little bit. But very, very liberating feeling. It was great.
Yeah, nowhere near police officers, and just there was nobody around, was there?
That's one of my highlights was that little section that we did, because we were just sitting on top of the cars, filming each other, and you don't see a car for 45 minutes, and if you do, it's like a big lorry.
Yeah.
I know. Can you imagine doing that down on the M6.
Yeah.
Just sort of
Jumping from car to car.
chest on the top of it, yeah.
So you actually drove your car all the way home after you reached Ulaanbaatar.
Yep.
So I know you've got loads
here we
of
go.
mad stories about this, but if you can think of the craziest thing that happened to you coming back, do you want to tell that story if you've got one?
Yeah, for sure. There's one that definitely sticks out. I mean, so as you guys will know, we had 2 kind of entry visas for Russia. Mine expired. My second one expired, which meant I had to wait around in Mongolia for an extra 2 weeks to get a transit visa through Russia. So I'd get a transit visa at the Mongolian embassy to allow me to get back through Russia. The issue of that is it only gives you 10 days to drive what is essentially 2/3 the planet.
Oh my God.
And one of those days it took a whole day to get through the border because obviously the Russian authorities are rather strict.
Bit strict, yeah.
Yeah, fast forward a couple of days and we're really, really pushing for time. And I'm with Amy as well, who's got a South African passport, which is important because I accidentally drove back into Kazakhstan, which with an English passport or a UK passport, you can do as many times as you like.
Right.
But with a South African passport, you can't.
Oh.
So I got to the border of Kazakhstan by accident. I had no intention of going there.
Yeah.
I'd already driven 600 miles this day. And I was like, I just had a complete meltdown. I started swearing at myself. I started hitting the windows. I was just not to go away. So I thought, we're going to have to turn back. There's nothing we could do. We've got to turn back and find another part of the road that just Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
I looked on my phone on the map and it was another 600 miles back the other way.
Oh my!
So about I know I've been driving for 12 hours that day already. It was absolutely gut wrenching.
Did you have to do it? You had to go all the way back?
Yeah. Well, sneaky as I am and quite peculiar, I found what I thought was a shortcut that was a little tiny narrow road.
Right.
And where do you remember the roads in Kazakhstan? It was like every 2 meters there was a pothole.
Oh, they were the worst ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that, but in Russia. So I thought, I'm going to bite the bullet here. I'm going to take this road because I can't stand to see anything I've seen before. I want to feel like I'm making progress.
Yeah, yeah.
So we took this shortcut, about another hour and a half. We kind of drive through this small village, and we haven't seen life in about 6 hours at this point. We haven't really seen anyone other than the Kazakhstani border guards. Mm-hmm. It's this little farm town, and all the roads are made of mud. And long story short, I done a Colin McRae and crashed a car into a ditch.
Oh no!
Shit.
Yeah, a ditch with a river in it. And it was the most pathetic crash you could ever imagine. It wasn't like a full speed kind of like, it was kind of like slow, the car twirling around like a ballerina on the ice.
Oh,
and it slowly just goes head first into this river.
Were you going too fast?
I was going to say, is it a ditch with a river? Isn't that just a river?
I guess it is, Craig. Yeah, there you are. That's me and my geography.
So how did you get out?
Well, I had to wind down the window, and I was like, because it was so pathetic and such an Ollie Jenks thing to do, I just laughed at myself for like a good 5 minutes. I was in hysterics at how pathetic this day had gone so far.
Laugh or cry.
Been awake since 4 a.m, got turned away by the Kazakhstani borders, got annoyed, found this dodgy road, and I'd climb out the window, and in the corner of my eye, I saw a police 4x4. Bear in mind, this town, this village, probably had a population of like 12 people.
Yeah.
I saw this police 4x4. I was like, I have to chase that car down, like Terminator on a mission, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. I have to chase that car down. Bear in mind, I'm fucking knee-high in shit in this river.
Oh my God, this sounds like hell.
And what I forgot about... trust me, this is probably one of the worst days of my life in retrospect, but quite funny in a weird kind of way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, guys, but remember the tow bar that got you across the Russian border?
We remember.
Old Faithful.
Yeah. So I was looking for that in the car, and I remembered you guys had it. I was like, oh, shit, maybe I have no way of getting out of here.
Shit.
But I think it proved more useful for you guys, probably.
I think so.
But anyway, we had this orange rope. So I grabbed the orange rope and legged it after this police 4x4
Yeah.
wading through the mud. God knows what, if there are any like people looking at me, God knows what they were thinking. But yeah, I got to the end of the road and I thought this police car's definitely gone. And it parked up at the corner. I was like, sweet. And I thought they must have gone in that house. And I just knocked on the door to this random village. They've probably never seen an English person before in their life.
Yeah.
I was banging on this door like Halloween, like hell for leather. And two guys come out with AK-47 on this girl.
Oh my God.
And I was like, it dawned on me then that you can't just go banging in doors in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, Russia.
Yeah.
Particularly when there's, there's armed police in there.
Yeah.
I was so naive, it was unreal. And I just, obviously I don't know any Russian either. So luckily I brought the rope with me. I just showed them the rope. And luckily they knew it was a tow rope and not like, I wanted to do something to tie them up and have sexy Russian fun with them.
A Russian romance this time.
No, exactly, yeah. And to be fair, they were quite nice. And long story short, they pulled me out of the ditch and let us on our way.
Oh, good.
Bloody hell, mate. That could only happen to you. I think you're on par with us when it comes to stuff like that happening, aren't you?
Luck, yeah.
I'm not a very... I don't know. Yeah, I guess I am. I like bad luck just seems to find me.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't Sam bad luck,
no,
but still bad luck nonetheless.
To be fair, no, he's got the gold medal, but I think you guys get silver, and I'll happily take bronze.
Yeah. Well, he was like, don't hang around with me for too long because this bad luck goes around, and it was actually after we spoke to him that we crashed the rickshaw.
So it was all Sam's fault, basically.
Yeah. Sam's curse.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So if you can, mate, in a sentence, describe your experience on the Mongol Rally.
These are tough questions.
Oh, there we go. Wow, that is a tough question. Tougher than my GCSEs. The thing is, you guys know, and I know, but you can't write it down, can you? You can't describe it.
Yeah.
What we done in 2 or 3 months, or however long we were there for, the amount of stuff we saw, the amount of stuff we experienced, and the things we done in that short space of time. Most people would never do that in their lifetime.
I know.
The life lessons we've learned, and there's a reason we're still talking about it now, 2 years on.
Yeah.
Not a day goes past where I don't think about it. Not a week goes past where I don't tell someone that I crashed into a river in Siberia, or you guys broke down in Mongolia, or
all 13
whatever the story may be, or
basically.
Yeah, or we drove for Iran and got stopped by police and stuff. You can't make it up.
I know. It was a fantastic trip. Craig, you crying?
Whoa.
You're right.
So deep. No, it's true, man. It's like I remember saying on the rally, it's like life crammed into 70 days.
Yeah.
Because you go through so many emotions, so many things happen. But it was the trip of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Very much. We recommend it to everyone.
I just urge as many people to do it as possible. And they probably think I'm mad. I tell them these stories of like going for Iran and like crashing into rivers and all the stuff that went on. And I'm like, you should do it. And they look at me like, you creep, and they start backing away. Slowly.
You creep.
What a trip. And I don't think anything we'll do again can replicate the kind of close bond we got and whatever else. It's
definitely, yeah.
Seriously amazing.
Yeah, it was top qual. So thanks for coming on, mate. Ollie, you've actually got your own podcast. If you want to tell people about that and where they can find you.
Am I allowed to give it a plug?
Yeah, of course you are.
Oh, happy days. So me and my kooky little friends, we've got a podcast called the Lost Luggage Podcast, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And it's basically, imagine my story of crashing into a river in Siberia. There's a bunch of stories like that, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or Instagram me, Jenks Ollie, and you can find a link to it on there. It's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
And Ollie's been to some mad places, so we'll leave the link for his podcast in the description on all our stuff as well, so you can check him out.
Great listen, yeah.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Excellent stuff. Nice one, chaps.
Yeah, and we'll
enjoy.
Thank you. We'll see you in
All right,
Scotland.
see you soon, mate.
Oh, definitely. We'll add it out. See you later, guys.
See you
Ciao,
later.
mate.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, he's a good lad, that Ollie, isn't he?
He is a great lad.
He's such a wicked person to be around as well, because he's mental, really. Remember when you were playing that fingers games and he was the only one I could hear from the bedroom, like screaming his face off. Such good fun.
He's a life lover, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he has been to some mad places, like backpacking all over the place.
Yeah, he's done a lot, and he plans to do a lot as well. So definitely give his podcast a check out for sure.
Right then. Mongolia? Fancy a bit of Mongolia?
Should we chat about Mongolia, one of the biggest countries in the world?
So we're actually on our way to the Russian border.
Yeah.
So we'd driven through Kazakhstan with the worst pothole roads on planet Earth.
Yeah.
We get to the Russian border and the car starts playing up.
Of course it does.
So we have to keep the revs like really high, otherwise it just cuts out. So as we're approaching the Russian border, Fferanda starts effing about.
She's kicking off again.
She's effing about.
Kicking bins.
So she's basically, we have to keep the revs high enough to keep her going, because if they go low, she just cuts out.
You don't want to be drawing attention to yourself.
Not when you're about to.
The Russian.
First time. This is our first time. Don't embarrass us before we get into Russia.
Such a knobhead. Honestly, when you think of mafia, you think Russian mafia, don't you? That's what I think.
Yeah.
And we have to just to keep her going.
Like bad boy racers.
Absolute embarrassment, Craig.
So Amy's shitting a brick because she has to sit in the car.
It's me that owns the bloody shithole, and I've got to drive it through on my own.
This is the maddest part about it. Like, you're going into a country where they don't want you to leave these cars because they know what the rally is and they've seen it before. And they let us tow the car in, even though it was completely not working.
So we had to tow the car through.
We towed the car across the border and they let us. We're like, is it all right if we bring this piece of shit into your country?
Well, they're not going to go, nah, you have to leave it there. They're going to be like, move that thing out of
the way,
get it
mate.
here. Yeah.
That ain't real camouflage. We managed to make it to the first town and we stayed at a hostel called Amigo Hostel. It was a Mexican themed one, which I wasn't expecting at all.
Is that the green one?
Yeah,
it was
green
all green
one,
and we slept in like a 10-bed like bunk bedroom.
Yeah.
But it was quite posh, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really posh. Yeah,
it was lovely. Did we get there really late as well?
Yeah, we got there about 10 o'clock that night.
So this is a running theme now going forward. They were long days. We were up early and we were ending up coming home really late. Home. I say home. To a Mexican hostel in the middle of Russia.
So the next day we had to figure out what was wrong. So we thought it was the battery.
Yeah.
So we found this local fella. He slotted a new battery.
It wasn't as easy as that, but carry on.
Yeah, it was a long story. Basically, we were going garage to garage.
Yeah.
And we found this like posh looking battery place. It was like a showroom of batteries.
Yeah.
And we were like, that one.
Did we still have money in the pot of our sponsors to be able to pay for that?
No. Gone, mate.
Oh, gone.
6G's gone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We spent that much on the road, yeah.
Oh, well, on breakdowns and petrol, yeah.
Petrol, yeah.
But the breakdowns were like thousands, weren't they, at this point?
I mean, they were cheap in Iran, but I don't think they did a good enough job. So that, 10 miles down the road, we'd have to have it done again.
We had about 45 shocks, didn't we?
I think we did, yeah.
So we had a new battery and the car seemed to be working all right at that point. So we were like winning. And the best part was we were in Russia now and the roads are like perfect, smooth tarmac.
I couldn't dream about it.
Honestly, like I'd say I love driving.
Yeah.
But when you drive those pothole roads, it is so annoying. So when you go from that to these smooth tarmac roads, it is so much fun.
You just don't take it for granted, do you?
You're just cruising around. You can look around. You don't have to watch the road for potholes.
Yeah.
And there was like big pine trees and rivers again.
So when we first got into Russia, it was like city, wasn't it? And it was like, I don't know how to describe it really, but like grey buildings. It was actually raining. Everything looked a bit dull. I was a bit like, oh God.
Really Soviet Union looking.
You think of Russia. Sorry, I'll get that out in a minute. You think of Russians, or they're portrayed as being really cold.
As they're portrayed in the media, they're always the bad guys and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah. So it was all just a bit like, oh, all right, Russia.
Yeah.
But then it all changed, didn't it?
It was stunning, wasn't it, love?
Oh, hun, it was stunning.
Stunning. So stunning. Yeah, there was just, we always say pine trees. I think it's because that's the only tree we know.
I don't know what a pine tree looks like.
Like
Christmas tree.
Looks like a Christmas tree.
Christmas tree, yeah.
Loads of pine trees, weren't there?
Loads of Christmas trees, yeah. So yeah, we sort of come out of the city and went into the countryside, and it was like massive, huge trees, like forestry, with like winding country roads, and there was like lakes that were like super blue.
Yeah.
It looked like Canada, didn't it?
It was unreal.
Unbelievable.
I was quite shocked, to be honest. I don't know what I expected. But
No, you just don't though going through these countries, and we didn't want to do too much research to know what they did look like. So when we got there, we were just gobsmacked.
Yeah,
it was
mind-blowing.
it was a beautiful drive.
But we're only popping in and popping out because although Kazakhstan and Mongolia
They touch on the map.
luckily we were with the boys because our original plan was to cross a border in Kazakhstan that doesn't actually
Into
exist.
Mongolia, just made it up. Oh, we just crossed by there.
We just saw a little line. We're like, oh, that one.
There's got to be a crossing.
It's going to be a gate there we can go through.
But there isn't. There's nothing.
So because we were just popping in and time was running out, that day we ended up driving for about 18 hours.
Was it 18 hours?
We were up at like the crack of dawn and we got to the hostel at the border of Mongolia at 3 a.m.
Oh my God. I remember like getting there.
We were all just cooked, weren't we?
Yeah, baked and a half. We would have covered some distance though, doing 18
Yeah, we
hours
drove. Yeah,
on those beautiful roads.
it must have been a big whack, but I think that was the best part is we needed to make up time and the roads were perfect.
Yeah, we were loving it. So yeah, maybe we just thought, oh, we'll just keep going because we were happy to drive. You know, it was easy to drive on lovely roads. But yeah, I remember getting to that place and it being like a skiing lodge.
Yeah,
because it was bloody freezing by the time we got to Russia.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we had like loads of coats on and hats on and like everything we took, we wore. We had like 16 layers on. We looked like Chubba Chubs. So,
Lollies.
Yes. Chubby people is what I meant.
Chubba Chubs.
Chubby people. So yeah, when we got there, the woman, was it a woman on the desk and she just didn't know what hit her because there was a bunch of us that turned up, wasn't there?
Heaps of us.
Sorry, love.
So we paid over the odds for a bed in the Canadian lodge.
Yeah.
But there was loads of rally cars there. So this one was literally right on the border.
Right on it. And they had all parked ready in line for the next morning.
Yeah.
So we just joined the queue and then went into the hostel.
I remember Rob wanted to get there early, so he slept in the car.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know why. Or maybe they didn't have any space left. He ended up in the car anyway, so it was fucking freezing.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. It was really cold.
We woke up the next day then at about 8 o'clock, so we only had about 5 hours sleep that night.
Oh, that's just me. Oh, no, I probably woke up with anxiety, probably had a bit of diarrhea. That's just not what I do or what I like.
And then we queued for the border. And it took, when we actually got through the gates, we had to drive a bit and then we got to the actual border. So this is Russia going into Mongolia.
Yeah.
And classic Amy and classic Ian Ian was in front of us. He left his bags at the border and drove off. And so then he phoned Amy. I don't know how he even phoned you, to be honest. I don't know why your phone was on.
I'm not sure. I must have just
cost a fortune.
been using my £6 Vodafone pack, you know, that you can use in Russia and places like that. £6 a day.
So Amy's at the border, decides to pick up the phone.
I'm like, hi, what's happening?
Hi, mate. How's it going? Russian guards boot off.
Clocked me one time.
They're like, secret agent, MI5.
Yep, get her.
And they literally just stripped the car apart, didn't they?
Yeah, what was going to be about a 20-minute border crossing, ended up being 4 hours, didn't it? They took every shred of Fferanda babes apart.
It was so frustrating.
Really, really annoying. But we got Ian's bag, didn't we?
Yeah. Cheers, Ian.
It's not Ian's fault. I picked up.
At this point, we actually had a week left.
Just 1 week.
And we were about to go into the toughest part of the rally.
Yeah, but the best.
The best. We made it to Mongolia.
Yes. We actually did it, and the car took us there, which was amazing.
Mongol Rally, baby. So that's the reason it's called that, because it used to finish in Mongolia.
Yep.
But the Mongolian government were getting fed up of people just ditching cars
Leaving
there.
their cars,
So they're like, you can no longer have a finish line in our country.
Yeah.
So they just popped across the border to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Describe Mongolia to us then, babes. When we first got in, what could you see? How did you feel? Did you love it?
I did love it. It was the whole buzz of approaching a new country in the car. You know, we rolled over in our little tyres, one higher than the other, because I think we had one of the little space hoppers on. The little
space hoppers.
The little extra
donuts.
The donut that you get in the back.
That
we took that for about 65 miles, bless her. But yeah, just great. Like, vast land. You go in and there's just like fields of, well, sort of grass, but like red dust all around you, like, and then mountains in the background. And there was yaks, Craig. Can you remember?
Bloody yaks,
when
yeah.
we first
I remember,
came in, and I was like, flipping, like I've never met a yak before in my life. I love seeing new animals that, like, you might see them on TV or whatever, but to the eye, you know, it's good fun.
In the flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were huge and they were really cool and all hairy and stuff. But yeah, I remember more getting into where we were going to stay that night, into the village.
Yeah.
And just how sort of sparse it was, and how even the buildings, there wasn't that many.
Yeah.
But there was yurts dotted around, because that's obviously like the nomadic lifestyle that they have.
Yeah.
They all live in yurts.
What we said earlier, it's like the least populated country in the world. You don't see anyone for such a long time. And you can't describe the vastness of it. It just, you look forever and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
It's just open gravel land.
It's like
it's
Mars.
mad. Yeah. It's
Pretty much like Mars.
Yeah. And it changes as well. That's what I loved about Mongolia, is like you'd be in like a dusty section for ages and hours and hours and hours. And then all of a sudden you'd see mountains, and then you'd see lakes and rivers. And then
small villages of like, just like concreted flat top houses.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
So as we were driving to the first town, we needed to find somewhere to stay because we were all so shattered from the big drive the day before. Everyone was ready to just like recuperate, get some food.
Yeah.
And Team Shenlong,
yeah. The ones that ditched us before.
they were ditching us all the time, mate.
They were.
I was sick of it. Me and Will, we were all sick of it, right?
We're going to get some miles in, they'd say.
And the best part about this sounds terrible. They were notorious for latering us.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what that means, it means see you later.
Buggered off.
See you later, mate.
They wanted to get a head start on us, basically. I don't know if it was a race or what they were doing. But
yeah. They would just always drive so fast. Like even in Iran, when we had a convoy and we had guys, they would drive off through traffic and speed off like it was a race. Relaxy batty, innit?
All right, Ali G.
We watched it, they were not. So they, what happened was they drove so fast, they didn't see this bump in the road. And like the roads out there, they keep you on your toes.
Oh, yeah.
So they took off over this ramp and it dipped so fast that the front of their car smashed into it.
Yeah.
And me and Will were loving it.
You're a bitch, Craig.
Because they were always taking the piss out of us because our car was terrible. And so when we saw them, we were like, whoa, what's happened to you, boys?
I think the thing is, like, we were all such a tight, like, convoy, weren't we? And we thought we were all, like, gelling, getting on really well. And we were all in it together until they buggered off. So then, you know, all the help that we got from all the other teams, it made us so much closer.
Yeah.
So then when they did have a problem, we were like,
oh, well, you lated us.
sorry about that, guys. We're just going to go ahead of you. You know, we didn't stop to help, did we? I think they were getting help.
No, they'd
anyway.
already got help. Yeah, we would have pulled them.
I don't think we were that mean. But yeah, we were just a bit like,
it was only banter, you know. But
yeah.
It did sound horrible, but we were loving it. So we arrived at the Eagle Hotel, which was lovely.
It was fantastic. Do you know how we were welcomed?
Yeah, those Mongolian fellas playing the like traditional instruments. It was so cool.
It's like a little ukulele or something, wasn't it?
They were like tiny guitars. Yeah, they weren't ukuleles as such, but they were like singing this lovely little song and everyone clapped at the end.
It was very Mongolian and I was just staring at them. They had like the full dress on, you know.
Dress?
The full dress up on, the Mongolian get-up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just really, really cool. Like, you always, I don't know if I can speak for you, but I always want to see what people look like from Mongolia. I want to see a traditional Mongolian man and Mongolian woman. What do they look like? I'd love to see it. So when we came across those boys, I was like, you look wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you a feel of the culture and the you know, the country.
And not just the clothes, we said this before, like as you move further east, people's faces change and the shapes of people's faces change. And the Mongolians, they've got like really high cheekbones and just the facial structure just changes. And it's so fascinating to see different people's faces from different cultures.
Yeah, I love it.
So, it was so nice to get to that hotel and have a proper wash and a sleep. Go on, what are you going to say?
Wasn't there a part where you paid for the room and I had to sneak in?
That was that hotel, yeah.
What happened there?
I don't know, it was like double the price for two people for one room.
That's right. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just sleep. I'll sleep in the car. I'm winking, by the way, guys. I'll sleep in the car. Don't worry about it. And then when they weren't looking, I just ran upstairs. We slept.
So we've gone from, these lovely Mongolian fellas welcome us to the hotel. And then we fucking ripped them off, mate.
That wasn't their hotel. They were just, like Butlins. They were the talent that come in. They didn't own the place. But yeah, no, it was quite expensive actually for Mongolia. And so we actually wanted to sleep and a shower, didn't we? So we bought
the hotel.
No, we paid for a room, and the rest of them stayed in a yurt, didn't they? And they had outdoor showers, and I thought,
and then he said it was freezing as well, so I'm glad we didn't do that.
Well, no, ours was, Craig. Remember? I had a migraine from the shower. There was no hot water, so it was just as well we didn't pay. We didn't get what we would have paid for anyway.
But the coolest part about being there, we'd arrived in Mongolia, and we were all just kind of reflecting on how far we'd come. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the map, we're almost in line now with Thailand.
Yeah, that's so cool.
If you think about how far that is on a plane, it's like a 13-hour plane ride. Yeah. And we've driven that in a shitty little Fiat Panda.
And it's the best time of our lives.
No offence, Fferanda babes.
Yeah, RP.
Mad.
Oh, I've got a few facts about Mongolia.
Go on then.
Should I throw them in here?
Chuck them in, go on.
So, just a little FYI.
Let's get ready to rumble!
You know the Great Wall of China runs through Mongolia?
I did know that, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Dips in, doesn't it?
I was surprised at that today when I read it. Mongolian people's guest culture is very strong.
Oh.
Yeah, so they will often greet their guests with a bowl of arag, I'm going to say, which is the fermented horse milk. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
However, it's considered really disrespectful to refuse it.
Oh, shit.
So
I'm glad I didn't get offered a glass of that.
I don't know what would have happened if we would have turned up there. It would have probably got in a fight, like a wrestling fight. It'd have been good for the vlog. Or if you're hungover, what they drink is a glass of tomato juice with vinegar and with sheep's eyes in it.
Wow.
It's considered a hangover cure.
Is that going to get rid of a hangover?
I mean, I don't know. I have some whoppers, but I still don't think I'd be able to gulp that down,
No chance, mate.
It's crazy. But yeah, talking about guests and Mongolian people having guests, isn't there a story about two guys?
Oh my God. As you said that, you reminded me, and I was going to tell that story.
Okay.
This is, excuse my French, this is fucking mental.
And it's all true, isn't it?
Yeah, so this guy, he was cycling through Mongolia, and he cycled a bit too far one day, and he didn't go prepared, so he ran out of water and food. Right. And he said he was so thirsty, and he was basically on the verge of dehydration. And these two guys took him back to their yurt, and they fed him. They gave him water, and they let him sleep in the house. And they took photos with him and stuff, and he was so grateful. And he left the yurt, and he was buzzing, trotted off on his bike.
Well, there we are. The guest culture is very strong.
Yeah. So then, as he's going, he's like, "Oh, obviously people are really welcoming. So next time we need to have a kip or whatever, or some food,
just ask.
I'll just ask." So he popped into the next yurt the next day or a few days later, and a similar thing happened. The woman said, "Come in." She made him tea and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he said,
she probably made him fermented horse milk.
Yeah, he probably had a glass of that and hated it.
Oh.
And so he was so excited to show her the last two guys that he'd met, and he got his phone out to show her the picture. So he shows this lady the picture of these two guys, and she looks like she's seen a ghost and nearly faints. She's gasps turns out the two fellas who'd taken him in, the local murderers.
Local murderers.
What the fuck?
Can you even imagine?
The local murderers.
So who
they're not in jail. They're just the locals. They just go knocking about, killing people.
He had a lucky escape then. You've got to wonder why they didn't kill him though. But then what a mad story.
That is mental, yeah. For her to know that who they were and her to be so scared.
I know, my goodness.
And he's just chilling with them, drinking horse milk.
Yeah.
The next morning, the car was just a state at this point. It was diabolically dirty, outside and inside.
Yeah.
And we knew we were going to have to clean it at the end. So we're let's have a big clear out in Fferanda. We took everything off the roof, everything out from inside. It was all kinds spilt in there. And we basically just had a big clear out, didn't we? And we were giving out, there was two local kids who came over.
They came over on bikes, didn't they? Yeah. They were really inquisitive, but obviously they can speak English because they don't live in England. They live in Mongolia. So
you don't live in England either.
obviously they couldn't speak English because they don't live in an English-speaking country. They live in Mongolia.
So we decided to just see if the lads wanted some freebies. So we give them like pots and pans. They had stickers.
Yeah.
We were giving out clothes, noodles, beans, you name it.
Yeah.
They were having it.
Spatulas and that.
Spatula.
Their mothers would have been like, "Oh, George, congratulations on bringing that home. Like, this is just what I need."
Because it was bloody freezing in Mongolia, and me and Captain B over here, we only bought a summer sleeping bag, didn't we?
Oh, just the one?
Just the one between us.
Fantastic.
So there was a local supermarket. We're like, we'll have a look in here, see if we can find one. Did we fuck?
Did we yell?
But they did have alcohol, and they had a few other bits, so we stocked up, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we got back on the roads. So the roads were mad, like we mentioned it earlier, but they like kind of crisscross. So you'd be driving on one and then it'll turn into another one. And then all of a sudden there's like 4 roads. And then you'll go up onto some tarmac and you'll be like, oh, sweet, some fresh tarmac. And then you'll drive like 2 miles and then there'd be a stop, a stone cold roadblock.
Yeah.
Like a huge mountain of sand.
Get off the road.
Get off the road.
Off-roading again.
Yeah. It was like that, non-stop. And I think the reason was, they're building a road, aren't they?
If you do the Mongol Rally next year when it is physically possible, you will have tarmac roads all the way through Mongolia.
Just nowhere near as fun, is it?
It isn't, and I wonder if you can come off them.
Yeah,
just
for the lols.
on a whim, like, just chop off the side, you know? Or if they're barriered all the way. They're probably not, because they're not that great at building roads, but... Yeah, so it was halfway done when we got there. So we had to go in and off. There was roadworks being done, which was really annoying, but at least we got the pure experience of going across basically like desert roads, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so good. It was the best driving on the whole rally.
Yeah.
And it was like a bit of teamwork as well, because we had like a few things going wrong, but we'd stop off and play football. One of the funniest stories as well, I forgot, this has just come to me, was because I was saying before about it's so flat in some parts and you can just see forever. And we stopped at this one part, we were playing football, and Sam was like, I'm dying for a shit. Sorry, Sam, I have to tell this story. It's just too funny.
Aiden and Ollie and I were going, yes.
And he's like, he runs off, and then he looks back, and we're all watching him, because there's nowhere to hide. There's no rocks.
There's nothing.
There's literally nothing
to go behind.
So he runs off, and then we're all watching him, and he stops, and then he runs again, and he's getting smaller and smaller, but we can still see him.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, he goes into a crab position.
Yeah.
Puts his hands on the floor, his feet on the floor, and he arches his back and starts going to the toilet. We're like, all of us just dying. It was so funny and so weird. I can never unsee that. It was so funny though.
Oh goodness.
But it was just so photogenic. Not Sam, just the scenery was so photogenic.
Yeah, moving on. So photogenic. Yeah.
There was, like we said, there was yaks and camels, and there was this one part we stopped at, and there was yaks just drinking from the river.
Yeah.
And we were just all taking photos, and it was so quiet. Oh, I loved it.
It was brilliant. And you didn't have to like worry about where were you going to camp that night. You could just go anywhere. It was pretty cool.
It was spectacular.
Yeah.
So as we're driving along, me and Will spot some wood. We're like, we're going to camp in the desert tonight. Let's pick this wood up. We'll break it apart. Yeah. And we'll have a big bonfire in the night to keep us warm. And so we put it all on the roof, drove about 2 or 3 miles down the road. And then Fferanda just packed in. She packed in so hard. I think that was it.
I was waiting for something spectacular then, Craig.
She go on, you say so.
She packed in so hard that her mother felt it.
Oh.
Okay, moving on.
Basically, the car broke down.
Yeah, in a more, exotic way of saying it.
But this was like a proper breakdown.
This is what we always dreaded, wasn't it? It was major.
It sounded horrendous. So it broke down, I thought, because the only thing I learned on the rally was how to change a spark plug. And I thought I can change any car, any Fiat Panda you've got, I'll change a spark plug on it for you for free.
Get spark plug, love.
So I put a new spark plug in.
Yeah.
And then when I turned it on, it sounded horrendous and really dry. It sounded like it was full of sand.
It was like a pig in a washing machine. That's what it sounded like. It was like
squealing
it did actually.
It was a great analogy.
Yeah. With a bit of metal.
So yeah, we were like, well, she's broken down. Might not be the end.
Yeah, we were hopeful. We've been through a lot of garage stops. We just take it to the next one and hopefully they'll fix it.
But the worst part was we were in Mongolia,
Yeah.
and it was those off-road, on-road roads.
And we were miles away.
And we
from
were
the next
about
city.
20 kilometers away. So we the worst part then was it got dark.
Mm-hmm.
So the boys clipped on the tow bar, and then the first ramp we had to try and get up was like a dirt ramp, and it
was
took us
big.
about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But luckily then there was like a nice bit of road. Found a garage in a local town.
Everything was shut though. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I don't know how we got the guy to come back because he was closed. We must have rang or something.
Yeah, someone just appeared like they do in most Asian countries. They just, if you go to a bakery here, if it's closed, it's closed. You go in Asia and it's closed, they'll come and open it for you.
Yeah.
The guy shows up and he didn't speak much English. I know, obviously, we don't expect him to, and we couldn't speak Mongolian or Russian, but his wife spoke German.
Yeah.
And Robin, who was with us, spoke German, even though he's Dutch.
Yeah.
So how mad is that? Luckily, Robin was there and
got
she was on the
around it.
phone. Basically, they said, come back tomorrow and we'll try and fix it.
Yeah.
So we found a hotel,
What was the hotel called?
best hotel on planet. It was called the Minch Hotel.
Inside.
We were the
Inside.
Minch Hotel that night.
And it was plush.
It was very
we
nice.
didn't expect it to be so fancy, but it was. It was
Like
wicked.
royal blue sheets.
Yeah.
We had slippers in the bathroom.
Gorgeous.
It was stunning.
Stunning, hun.
Stunning Minch Hotel.
I got bad experience with the Minch Hotel though.
Is there?
I left my bum bag there.
Oh, you
It had
idiot.
over $100 in it. It had all my rings and my bracelets, and I just, I was emailing and we were trying to call, and there was just nothing. There was no way I was going to get that back. I was devastated.
They minged it.
They minged it. Okay, Craig. You need to go to bed, my friend.
But it was so nice after camping. We were just, yeah.
Yeah.
We were stinking.
A little bit worried though, weren't we, because of Fferanda?
I couldn't really sleep that night, yeah. Because it didn't look good. So we woke up the next morning. Me, Will, and Rob went to the garage. I'm not sure why you didn't come.
I probably didn't want to wake up that early, to be honest.
Probably not. But we got there, and the guy basically just did an X symbol with his arms.
Oh dear.
Like he was DMX's uncle.
Yeah.
And he was like,
X not going to give it
X
to you.
not going to give you a shred, mate.
Oh,
The
dear.
car is dead. So that was it. Fferanda was officially dead. I wish we had a wah, wah, wah sound effect.
But I do wonder, because, unless it was a big job and he just couldn't be bothered to do it, I do wonder if she could have been fixed by somebody who might have wanted to put the time into it, Not that we had time at all.
Yeah. Well, like we said on the Uzbekistan podcast, the guy offered us a new engine and
should
we
have
said
taken it.
no.
We should have
It would have
obviously.
taken the same time and it was like an extra $100,
Yeah.
which you lost in your bum bag, which you could have been spent on that.
Oh, in hindsight, Craig.
Captain Hindsight. So yeah, I was genuinely so gutted
You
and
were
annoyed.
so distraught, weren't you?
I was, yeah, because I hate relying on people. I don't want to be a burden. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I didn't want to ruin the rally for the rest of the guys. I didn't want them waiting for us or having to stick us in their cars. But obviously, if something happened to someone else, we would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And but I was really bummed out. I think I was just thinking about our sponsors because
Yeah.
obviously all the stickers were on the car. We couldn't
Yeah.
film it again.
And Mongolia was the one place we wanted to photograph and film
Yeah.
the car in,
And we had about 2 or 3 days of it, if that, and it was dead.
Yeah.
But the guy was like, I got a mate, we can chuck it on a truck and we can drive it all the way to Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital city.
How far away were we from there?
We were the other end of the country,
We were
basically.
days away, weren't we?
Yeah, we were about 3 or 4 solid days of driving away.
Yeah.
So he said it'll cost you $400.
Rip off.
Absolute shafted.
To drive 4 days away. Do you know what I mean? How you wouldn't even get nowhere near that in the UK.
No, I know. Somebody had a Mongolian phrase book, which came in super useful.
Yeah.
And we managed to communicate with him through this book and figure out
I don't know how.
to meet him in this train yard in Ulaanbaatar, which we'd never been to before in our lives,
Yeah.
at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
But we ended up just getting a number from him
Yeah.
later on, so we'll tell you about that after.
And we didn't pay him before he got there because we didn't know whether he'd just take the money, take the car and bugger off. Did
No,
we?
which was brave of him
Yeah.
because we, we could have just left him with it.
Car. Yeah.
It would have been his problem then. But when we put it on the truck, he said to meet us in this random bit of land, and there was like a huge sandbank. So he backed the truck onto it and we pushed it on. It was so strange. The whole truck was full of like old crisp boxes and just crap. There was stuff everywhere, and he was like throwing it all into the desert. All this stuff was just chucking it off his truck. We put it all back on after. Oh, okay. He was a weird guy.
Righto.
And he had like one of those crop tops on, so his whole belly was out.
Oh, I love them. I love those.
Just flaunting it. He was just like, this is my belly. Deal with
I
it.
love that.
And me, Rob and Will were just like, what is going on? We had to push the car on. And they were like, are you going to strap it down? And he was like, looking at us like we were weird. And then he eventually put the ropes on.
Yeah.
But what we were worried about is if he hasn't got proper ramps, how the hell are we going to get it off when it gets to the other end? We're just going to have to roll it off and drop like 6 foot onto the floor.
Yeah, because it didn't like bend down in any way. It didn't have like a suspension that went meow like to the floor.
Nothing. Yeah, usually they have like
high.
Pull out metal ramps or something like that. Yeah. Or, a whole thing that comes down. It was nothing.
None of it.
So yeah, it was all a bit strange. But the best part, the silver lining, was that we got to go back in the car with the Italians.
With our Italian stallions.
So Riccardo and Lorenzo saved the day again. Those guys are so kind and so nice.
You just can't not have a smile on your face
I know,
when you
it's
talk
weird.
about those two.
Yeah, you say their names and you smile.
The loveliest souls on planet Earth. Like, so, gentle and kind and just loving. They're the best.
We went to visit Riccardo when we did our Euro trip in the bus. And we met him in Genoa. I always forget what it's called. Yeah. And he took us around and we ate like Italian bread and coffee, and he was just he was so welcoming.
I love them both so much.
So it was great. We were sat in the back and we were so tired because we've been doing so much driving.
What were they in the back of?
So they had a Fiat 600, which was given to them by their granddad.
Yeah, it was tiny.
It was very small.
And they had a lot of stuff. So we were just like squished in the back of the car, like, okay, we're ready for this 4-day drive. Let's do it. But they started playing us like traditional Italian songs, and we learned to sing with them, and it was good. It was really good, like driving into the sunset and stuff. It was so lovely, and we felt better after that, didn't we? Yeah,
they like fed us bread and pears, and they just looked after us. They're like, I think they could see how distraught we were.
Yeah, they were like, let me just put the aircon on. So they like USB'd in like a tiny fan and put it back and was like, there's the aircon. I was like,
but it was really so it was kind of cold there anyway, so it wasn't too bad. But it's so funny.
Yeah.
And so that night we ended up in the middle of the desert. We found like a tiny little mud wall.
Yeah.
And Will had been Googling how do these like nomadic people start fires, because there's no wood. Mm-hmm. You're not by a coastline where there's like driftwood.
Anything.
And it turns out they use camel shit.
Yeah.
But there was none of that around, so we built a fire with some goat shit.
Some goat shit. Bear Grylls picked it all up and stuck it all on.
So Will did a good job on the fire.
Yeah.
And it was such a good night. We had beers, we had some music playing, we just had like a dance with them, and we had like a camp stove, everyone was cooking.
And the stars were out. There's no light pollution, and it's just the most amazing scenes you can think.
Probably the most stars I've ever seen in my whole life. It was crystal clear. It was unbelievable. Yeah. And it was the perfect night after what had happened with Fferanda, because I was ready to go home after that. Mm-hmm. But then as soon as we were there, I was like, this is what it's all about. Yeah. It was the highlights of being with the boys, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Being with the crew. So we're going to leave it here because this will be a two-parter. There's so much to talk about for Mongolia, because obviously the next episode is the final episode. This is the penultimate episode, babes.
It's mental. I can't wait to speak about next week, because it's such a crazy ending to what already was a crazy journey. But yeah, if anything was going to happen, it was going to happen to us, which it did.
It did. So we're going to have two special guests on the show. We wanted to get everybody on, but it's been so hard to schedule everybody in. Mm-hmm. But next week we're going to have Rob and Aidan on, who were like with us through all of it at the end.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a belter of a finisher. Yeah. If you've seen the documentary, you kind of know how it ends, but honestly, we couldn't even make it up what happens.
Yeah.
So it deserves a whole podcast, doesn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
So if you are brand new, lads, and you've just found us, thanks so much for joining us.
Yes.
If you're listening to us, give us a rating, because we're still doing a competition. We're going to announce the winner actually on the final episodes.
Brilliant.
Of the King in It merchandise. Mm-hmm. So all you've got to do is leave us a review, whether it's on Podbean or Apple Podcasts. and then you'll be automatically entered.
I mean, just do it. It's free. It's free to enter. Do you
Why
know what I
not?
mean? You could win some lush stuff.
Free comp on that. If they're on YouTube, what should they do, Aim?
Press subscribe. Share it about, tell your people about it. Because it's a pretty cool story, I reckon.
Free content, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
You don't pay. Free. You just go online.
Though. We have got Patreon.
You could be a patron. Yeah, that would be great if you did that. So next time we will be talking about the most dramatic ending ever to the Mongol Rally.
In Mongol Rally history, basically.
You are not going to want to miss that one, lads.
Yeah.
So we will see you there. Friendships.